Okay, welcome back. This is our Symbol of Peace project. So in your sketchbook or on a separate piece of paper if you would prefer, we're gonna work. So I'm using pencil. We always start in pencil. I'm using my little tiny ruler that I found, and I'm gonna mark off a space to work here. So I'm basically gonna make like a big rectangle. So I'm using just the straight edge. Now remember, you don't have to have a ruler to get a straight edge. You could use the side of a piece of paper, you could use the side of a book. You know, be creative. You're resourceful. Come up with something. Create a rectangle on your page here. And you can work horizontal or vertical. It's up to you. I'm going to work vertical, but that's up to you. Okay, so I've got my rectangle on my paper. Hopefully you can see that. And what we're going to do is we're going to start at the center or slightly off center. It's kind of up to you, but I think I'm going to start at the center, and I want you to create or draw a symbol that represents peace. So I have on my paper here a couple different ideas. So things that you could do at the center. You could draw a peace sign. You could draw a dove. You could do hands kind of holding a heart. You could draw like the peace sign, you know, like peace, like the V, okay? You could draw a paper crane. You could do a yin-yang or a rainbow. I'm going to use the idea of rainbow in mind, but just in a different place. I think I'm going to start with the peace sign. I've done now one with a peace sign and one with a dove. It's up to you, but I'm going to use my example of the peace sign to start. Okay, so at the center here, I'm going to draw a circle. So remembering we're using light sketchy lines to start. And then I'm going to go back and I'm going to go over this, obviously, so it stands out a little bit more. I'm going to start with a peace sign like this. Okay, and then I'm going to use my black pen to go over that. So any kind of pen works, you know, ballpoint pen. These are like these kind of like art markers that I have. If you have a Sharpie, that works. You could even use like a dark colored pencil or a dark crayon. That would work too. Okay, so trace over your lines so that your symbol of peace stands out kind of in the middle. Okay, then around that, we're going to divide up this negative space. So you're going to divide this up. How you divide it is up to you. I'm going to divide it into sections like this, but you could divide it into, you know, like columns or rows, or you could use like more organic lines. It's up to you. Okay, so divide up the negative space out here. And inside this negative space, we're going to do some different things. So I'm going to go over these lines also with my black pen so that I see kind of a difference. So in the negative space, you're going to create some Zentangles. I don't know if you've ever heard of Zentangles before, but Zentangles are kind of like drawn, structured patterns. So they're like real, they're real structured. They're not like kind of random. So I printed, so Zentangles, it's right here. It's, drawing structured patterns. Okay, so I printed some from my printer so you could see. Obviously you would just use your computer screen or your iPad or something to see some different examples, but here's some. They're like real kind of like designed, like structured, cool patterns. There's tons of examples on the internet. I printed just these two real quick for this video, but you can use any kind of Zentangle, or you can come up with your own. You don't have to use someone else's. You can come up with your own idea. But basically you're going to take those ideas and draw them in the negative space. So there's a bunch of different ones. I'm going to start with like this kind of zigzaggy pattern one. So I like to start in pencil, but if you're feeling brave and you want to go right ahead in pen, that's fine. So you kind of like, I'm starting like this. Okay. So once this pattern's done, I can go over that in pen again. So basically a lot of this is going to start off just sort of black and white, meaning like the white, or my paper's kind of grayish, so your paper and then the black pen or you know, color pencil or whatever you have. So I would go over these lines as well. So then I'm going to keep filling each one of these spaces with a different pattern. The other thing you can do is you can use words. So if you would like to incorporate some writing into this, I think that this would be an awesome project to do that. So if you want to use words as pattern, you can do that. You can, Mrs. Carter did her design and she wrote kind of like around the edge of her peace sign. You can write around the edge of your border. You can incorporate some different things. So I had some ideas, so pretend I finished this. Okay, so I had some ideas, like I could have take the word unite and maybe I fill that here. And I could go over that in my pen, and then maybe I do patterns or color around that. Okay, so eventually what you want to do is after you have all, I know this is, I feel like this video is very rushed, I'm so sorry, but after you get kind of like all your spaces filled in, this is where you can incorporate your color. And what better time than now to go rainbow. So go rainbow on this. You know, do some shading with your colored pencils or whatever you have, if you have watercolors or if you have crayons, you know, like do some shading, fill in some spaces, add some color to this, make it unique, make it your own. I kind of like grabbed a whole bunch of colors to do my rainbow here. I'm going to do my rainbow inside my peace sign, and then I'll sort of decide what I want to do with the color in the outside. So you can sort of see I'm adding, hopefully you can see my rainbow colors here. And then I don't know what I'm going to do. I think I might write like around inside my peace sign. I think that might look kind of cool. So I need to kind of come up with, I could come up with a quote. You could use a quote from someone who's inspirational to you. You could use, you know, you could write your own quote. So I've got the start of my rainbow peace sign here. So I'll finish this. I'll put my quote in here. Obviously I have a lot of like stray pencil lines that I'm going to want to erase before I can call this finished copy. Okay, so do a nice job. If you have any questions, you know, reach out to me through Schoology and I can help you with that. And I can't wait to see what you come up with. So don't forget to take a really clear, nice photograph of your finished work. Okay, I'll put an example of my finished one in our Schoology page for you to see. All right, can't wait.